Hello guys, good evening. So thanks for joining. Okay, and thanks for waiting as well. So allow me 1 minute. Just I'm setting up something. All right. So guys, I hope I'm audible and you guys can see my screen, right? So as you all know, this course is about the firewall mastery course where we will go with the 5 top technology in the network security side. Palo Alto we will start with, then we will go with Checkpoint, okay, and FILTM, Cisco ASFTD, and the FortiGate. So these are the 5 modules. So let me start from let's say my introduction. So my name is Sagar Dhawan, and I'll be the instructor for this course. I have trained more than 20,000 students globally, and I train the network security courses and the Python automation, network automation courses. Okay, and this is my LinkedIn profile. So let me just brief you just in 2 minutes how the agenda is put up. So we are starting with Palo Alto module first. Okay, so today we are starting up with the Palo Alto module, and it usually take around a 1 month of duration. Then we get into the Cisco ASFTD, which will take another 1 month of duration, and then we get into the FI load balancer, then the checkpoint, and then the FortiGate. Okay, so usually it is gonna take up to 4 to 5 months altogether, and it's a weekend batch. That means Saturday and Sunday, and every Saturday Sunday it's going to be 9:30 to let's say 11:30 p.m. India. Okay, as per depending upon the topic. Sometimes the topic needs more time, sometimes the topic can be winded in 1.5 to 2 hours. Okay, all right. Regarding the course curriculum and all these things, we will have it at the end. Okay, so before I get started with something, I just want a couple of you to just let me know, are you from the firewall background or are you from the network side, and why are you looking this course? Okay, so that it will help me to prepare the curriculum in such a way I come to know my audience have worked on firewall, or this is the first time for them, so that I can prepare the curriculum in that way. Okay, so I'll unmute for some time. It will be just 2 to 3 minutes, and I want some 4 5 people to just unmute and let me know if you have a bad background, you have some noise in the background, then it's fine. You can use the chat window to drop your comment or your introduction. Okay, yeah, so let me unmute you people. So yes, tell me, some people can unmute yourself.
Yes, hi sir. I heard this side from India, Delhi. I am working on people strong in security engineer.
So which firewall are you working right now?
Yeah, 40 gate firewall I'm working right now.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
All right, thanks Harsh. Yeah,
yeah. Thank you.
how about others?
I am from Dubai, but I'm working as a network engineer, not working on firewall. No, I want to move towards firewall.
Okay, Yeah. So how many agree with Latif? How many of you are from routing switching and are new to the firewall? Quick poll.
Yeah, hi, Sajid here. Actually, I'm from routing switching background, but I got opportunity to work on security domain now. So I changed the security project. So
Okay.
I hope this course will help for me handle the
Okay. So
security tickets.
yeah, thank you. So I see at least 75 to 80% are new to firewall. Okay. Yes. Okay. Very less people who have worked on Palo and FortiGate, but 70 to 80% say that new to firewall. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. All right. So, guys, let me tell you this batch is especially for those people who want to shift their career from routing switching to security, because we will start all these modules from, very, very scratch. That means I'll start with like what is firewall, which OSI model it works. So, the first class will be more or less towards introductory classes. The second class would be introductory for that particular module. Like, let's say if I'm considering Palo, then I'll talk about the Palo introduction, like what all license it uses, what all feature it has. And the third day, it will be like we configure some interfaces, we see the dashboard, we see how do we configure management. So this is how the curriculum is put up. So anyone can catch up the module very easily. So you don't need to have any prior experience on firewall. That is how this is designed. Okay. All right. So without any further ado, let's jump into some quick questions. Okay. Just if you know the answer, you can contribute, but just understand that this is having a huge participant. So just don't come up with unmuted all of sudden. So first question is, what is firewall and what OSI layer does it work? So routing switching guys might know at least this question, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Firewall is a network security device. It is used for incoming and outgoing traffic monitoring, and you're working on the application layer.
Hmm. What else? That's all.
Yeah, that's all. These are basically monitoring traffic in incoming and outgoing.
Okay. All right. So allow me some time to put down some points here. Okay. So when I say firewall, one second, just a minute. So when I say firewall, what comes in my mind is it's a device, it's a networking device which has a concept of implicit deny. Okay. Implicit deny in the sense you send any packet tries to enter, it's gonna get dropped.
Hi Sagar, please share screen.
Okay, one second. So is it visible?
Yes.
All right. One second. Okay, guys, give me just a minute.
Hello, Sagar. Can you unmute yourself?
Am I good?
Yes, we missed the part from last routing switching.
Okay. Guys, give me just a minute. Okay, so I guess I'm good with now. So what I was telling with respect to routers and switches is that router and switches are meant to be passing on the traffic 100%, whereas the firewall will block it. Okay, and until or unless you have the access list, you cannot uh, pass on the traffic. So I was going to give you one example, quick example. So let's say the users are here, my source. Let's say it is a simple IP. Let's say 1.1.1. Okay, and his port number is something like this. This is the source, and he's trying to reach to some server on the other side. So who is this? This is the destination. And let's say the IP is 2.2.2.2 with port number, let's say 80. So now what happens is all your routers are meant to route it. So the traffic will come here, the traffic will go here. But then when it tries to go to the firewall, as we know that firewall is implicit deny. Okay, that means the traffic is meant to get dropped. So all your traffic will get dropped instantly. That is how the firewall will work when they send some unknown traffic. So in what case the traffic will be allowed? So the traffic is allowed when, let's say, your administrator will put access list on the firewall saying that if this source and this destination is on the path, then allow it. Okay, so when the traffic hits the firewall, it will check the access list. If that is a known traffic, then it will allow to reach here. Okay, so this is something which you should always remember, the first difference. The rest of the difference, in addition to this, I can say that firewall also supports URL filtering. Okay, it has support for antivirus, packet inspection. What else? All other things like QoS or web application filtering. Okay, VPN support. So these are all additional features of firewalls. Yes, SSL encryption, decryption. Correct. So if you have router, do you think the router will do the packet inspection? Will the router do packet inspection? Who is saying yes? How does router will do a packet inspection? Router will only check your extended ACL. So in the extended ACL, source IP, source port, destination IP, destination port is getting considered. Okay. Only these 4 tuples get considered. Will it check the packet? Will it check the packet content, whether it's a HTML file, whether it's a PNG file, whether it has the digital signature, whether it's classified as a social media URL, what profile is added, what antivirus profile is added? So that is not getting added up in routers. Okay. So in firewall, along with this 4 tuples, you can add profiles. Okay. Profiles like, yes, like your UTM features or antivirus. Okay. You can add the packet inspection profiles here. If you have the certificate for features like, we say, wildfire in Palo Alto, so you can check the packet content. What is the content of that packet? Is it allowed or is it to be marked as a malicious activity? Okay. So these all things make firewall a complete different unit than routers. But yes, there are people who say that we can allow routing on firewall. So why don't we use firewall on a exit, right? See, for example, on this so let's say some people or some enterprises, what they do is, instead of this edge router, they like to keep the firewalls. Okay. Just because that you can add some policy or rules, plus it does routing. So do you think you should replace that with a firewall because it can do rules and routing? See, now it depends. Okay. I mean, if you're using a small segment enterprise for 5 to 20 users, might be you don't need a router. You don't need a dedicated router. The firewalls are sufficient enough, which can do routing plus the packet inspection. Okay. But when you are moving towards a medium segment or a large segment, in that case, most of the employer try to differentiate it. They keep firewall separate and router separate. Router will do the routing part, whereas the firewalls will do all your packet inspection, antivirus, which is IPS, IDS, SSL decryption, encryption, VPN connection. All this will be on your firewalls. So you don't want all the features to put in the firewall and bring that firewall down due to a heavy packet in and out going across it. Okay. So it depends. I mean, if someone say that why don't, then it depends on what circumstances. If it is a small segment with a limited traffic, then yes, you can just collapse both of them. You can keep router, you can ignore router, keep a firewall, it will do the job. If it is a branch campus where hardly 5 to 10 users or 5 to 20 users sit, but when the user size increases, when the traffic in and out is in a heavy Gbps, okay, gigabits per second, so you will try to keep a complete dedicated unit which will act as firewall, and router is only to manage the routing part. Okay. So this is also one sort of confusion to a lot of people, that firewall does routing, then why can't I use firewall itself? Why do I need a router? So you should know what firewall does and why we use it. Okay, so that was regards to what is firewall. But now coming to OSI layer. Okay, what do you understand by OSI layer? Now again, this is a CCNA subject, and you know that all this network networking components are segregated. So when you say router, you say it's a layer 3 OSI model, network layer. When you say switch, you say it's a layer 1. Those hubs and all those things, you say that they are layer 2, and this is layer 1. Okay. And all your application layers like HTTP and all those things, you keep it on the layer 7. Correct. So this is your all OSI concept. Now coming to firewall, where would I keep a firewall? Now firewalls are classified into various category. Okay, that means I can say that firewalls like traditional firewalls. Okay, one example I can talk about is Cisco PIX and ASA firewall. Most of you might have heard about this, correct? And on the other side, you also have something called as next generation firewalls. Example, Cisco's FTD, okay, or Palo Alto, FortiGate, correct, Checkpoint, CP. So now, when I classify them into traditional versus next generation firewall, I can say that my traditional would sit somewhere on 2, 3, and 4. What is 4? 4 is your transport layer. Layer 4. Okay. So my traditional firewall, which works on the concept of source IP, source port, destination IP, and destination port, will only try to decrypt the IP and what header it is, whether it's TCP or UDP. It does not check anything else. Okay. So traditional firewall is a best which sits on 2, 3, and 4. But you know that nowadays you need application layer support, you need the antivirus features, you want to break down this packet and see what is the content of that packet. So now you need a firewall which can work from 2 to 7. Okay, so from your layer 2 straight away till layer 7. So all your next gen firewalls, they can work on layer 7. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 7, these are some layers where next generation can sit. All right, so this is the answer for first question. What I asked was, what is firewall and on which OSI layer does it sit? So you agree, or you have any point to contribute? You can use the chat window. Okay, so I'll move further. Okay, some more questions which most of people has a doubt or they get confused. Okay, where do you best deploy a firewall? In the sense, if someone has given you to not from the OSI layer, I'm not talking about from the OSI layer, where do you keep it? On the edge, on the entry, on the LAN side, on the distribution layer, or the core layer? On which side of things you keep it? So let me once again try to get that diagram. Okay, so where do you keep this? Okay, so most of people say edge. That is true. That is where you need a firewall. Okay, so let's say this is my edge firewalls. Edge firewall in the sense uh, facing towards the ISP, because this is my ISP, internet. There are a lot of malicious activities, hackers, spammers, etc., who can, try to get into your network. So one place is edge. Where else do you think we can place a firewall? Let's say in this diagram, where do you think should I place it? Because I have put, all the labels here. I said that client, user, guest, DMZ, etc. So where else do we need? Can we keep it to the LAN side also? On a LAN side as acting as a gateway? Yes, that's right. Okay. I'll tell you in which scenario you need to use it. Okay. Let me tell you in which scenario firewalls have to be kept on the LAN side. Say, for example, over here, these are all my gateways. Gateway. I can say that it's a CAT 6500 switch, which can work on layer 2 and layer 3 MLS switch, where I have put all my gateway. Gateway in the sense, let's assume that these people are from the sales team, okay, and who are working on the VLAN, let's say 10. On the second note, let's say I have some more people who are from the marketing team and they have a VLAN of 20. These people, let's say from design team, VLAN 50. Okay. So the VLAN 10 gateway is put up here, dot 1. VLAN 20 gateway is put up here. So let's say dot 1 for VLAN 20. And the design VLAN 50, the gateway is put up here. Okay. So all this users, they first look on their gateway before they want to talk to another user on another network. Okay. So that's why we make use of gateway. If it was just layer 2 to layer 2, then switch was sufficient. If it was between a sale team to another sale team, you do not need a gateway. You just can talk between the switch itself. When a sale team guy has to talk to marketing guy, you need a gateway, and the gateway is pointing to these core switches. Correct. Now I'll tell you the problem. Problem is when I have some guest users. And he is on VLAN 10. So from my network, who else is on 10? This guy is on 10. All my sales people are VLAN 10, and these guest users are also 10. Now the problem is that guest user has reachability to the sales team. Okay, and we may not know who is trying to raise some DOS attack, or who is trying to create some flood, or who is trying to get into your network. Correct. So in such scenarios, when you see lot of guests in your network, what you can do is you can replace that gateway from a switch to a firewall. Okay, so I can keep a firewall here. So I will replace that gateway. Now router and switch, MLS switch, will not be acting as a gateway. It would be my firewall. Why? Because firewall will have a concept of implicit deny. So by default, all of them are blocked. So how does a sale to sale guy engineer will talk? He has to send a ticket. Okay, a ticket will be raised. I'll tell you what normally the network administrator or network firewall administrator work upon. So they receive a ticket saying that please allow the communication, or please allow the port, or whatever, please allow the communication, okay, over on port 80 for this source to this destination. Okay, so once you validate that ticket, once you upload the necessary access list, then only the communication will happen. So you will see this sort of tickets arising when the concept is that you do not want everyone to allow the reachability. Okay, this can lead to security breaches. Most of the company, what they do is they don't allow inter VLAN connection, but if they want to, then the gateway will be the firewalls. The ticket will go to the firewall team. They will unblock your port number and you will have the access. Okay, so this is how the concept works. So now I can conclude, I can keep a firewall on a edge side, okay, on a LAN side to separate out all these users, and then something called as DMZ. So how many of you know what is DMZ? Demilitarized zone. Have you heard about DMZ? Okay, I'll take the same example. So I'll tell you what is DMZ. Now let's say this is your customer. Okay. This is your customer and he has purchased some application from you. So your hosting is application. Now, how is the traffic gonna get entered? It's gonna get entered in these path. Okay, whatever the reachability is, something like this. And where are your users sitting? Your users are sitting on the same network, inside network. Now, who knows that there could be someone who is pretending to be customer and who is trying to get into this, because we know that we are invested lot of money on our side of firewall, but we are not sure about our customer, right? Who knows that he is still using those software based firewalls or whatever. So someone who is spoofing the IP, who is pretending to be one of the user or someone from internet, tries to get into our inside zone, so they can access lot of servers which is kept in inside zone. Okay, and there is chances that he can launch DOS attack or DDoS attack. So what does DOS and DDoS do? It can either slow down your service. Okay, it can slow down your service, or it can put down those servers completely. Okay, slow down the application or put down the complete server down due to the high utilization. Now, not just this customer is impacted. Let's say another customer who had paid you the money to host the application on your data center or whatever, even his server is down and entire thing is down for the minute. Okay, so what you do now? So you try to create DMZ zones. Okay, and when you create DMZ zone, how is it gonna fix the issue? So let's say this DMZ zone, which consists of multiple servers, you are hosting it for only customer X. And who is that? Let's say that is this guy. So this person, this customer or his users, they will come over on internet. They will not get into the inside zone where might be your data servers are kept, or your payroll servers, your attendance servers, your confidential servers are kept. Instead, where the traffic will go, it will go to a complete another logical boundary. Okay, it will get into a different zone itself. Now, let's say if that particular attacker or spammer try to spoof the IP, at the max, he can access only this customer. And let's say if he put it down due to some DOS attack, now what the administrators will do is they will create another DMZ zone, or they might already have another DMZ zone signed up for this customer. So they will block the path and they will allow this access. Okay, so it is like instead of bringing the entire network down, you're just minimizing the risk. So let's say if one zone gets corrupt, or one zone has been having a DOS attack, so it's only those server which is put in that zone is getting down, or the slowness is occurring. But you can cut down the traffic and you can push it to another zone instantly, and the servers are back. Rather than the entire 100% network going down, you just are trying to minimize it. Okay, so now let's say that the hacker just could reach only 1%. Earlier he was able to reach 100%. He put all the service down. So which is better? Keeping something in a segregated mode is better, or you giving access to your whole internal network you think is more risky, or what is a better plan? So you got what is DMZ here? What do you mean by DMZ zone? Okay. And all the firewalls have this concept. It's not just only one of them. All the firewalls got this concept. Okay, so let's say if I have a piece of hardware, okay, any firewall, so it got some switch ports, right? Gig 0/0, gig 0/1, etc. So you have a capability of changing that port to either layer 2 or layer 3 or transparent mode. Okay, so you can change the port levels, whether you want to make it layer 2, layer 3, or transparent mode. And also when you do that, you have to assign the zone towards it. So all the interfaces will be part of one or the other zone. So most of the time what people do is they keep a outside zone which is facing towards the ISP. They keep the inside zone, which is your own internal users. And for customers, they create multiple zones. So let's say customer A has signed for 10 server access. I'll come to transparent mode in some time. So allow me to complete this. So let's say customer A has signed for 10 server access. So you would like to create a logical boundary and place those VMs or servers behind that. So they will access only that particular thing. Similar way, let's say customer B is signed up for another 5 server. You will create a DMZ. You can create any interactive name. It shouldn't be always said as DMZ. DMZ is like your bookish concept, but it doesn't mean that you have to keep DMZ only. Let's say this is customer what? Let's say Duke or something. So I can just keep it as Duke customer. That means that this is a DMZ zone with the name Duke customer. Let's say I have one more customer who is from Nestle, correct? So I can say that Nestle customer, and I can say this is one more DMZ. Okay, so this way we can create a lot of DMZs, put the server, allow the access. All right, so we will move to another frequently asked question. That is, what do you mean by stateless versus stateful inspection? So any idea about this? Lot of interviewers will ask this. So tell me, if I say router, where it fits, stateless or stateful? You think router will keep the stateful nature? It's a stateless property. Okay. Similar way, let's say switch. Is it stateless or stateful? Okay. Yes, it's stateless. What about standard ACL? Is it a stateless or stateful? Guys, this is also stateless. What about extended ACL? Is it stateless or stateful? This is also stateless. Okay, so I put this purposefully so that I wanted to see whether you go with that 50-50 option or these are all stateless. Then what is stateful? 𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒆𝒚, palo, checkpoint, these are called stateful. So now let's see. No, there is nothing to do with rule here. Let's see what does stateful refer to. Okay, so I'll just put a just logic here. Let's say I have some users here. The users is trying to get into our network using some internet, some ISP provider that will hit our edge router. Edge router will take to my firewall and see whether that is a legitimate user. Then it will take to might be a access layer switch. Access layer switch will then lead to servers or users or anything, let's say any target host. Okay, so he is a source and this is a destination, correct? Or you can think in other way. Let's say that the user is sitting here who is a source and he is trying to access the destination hosted website. Let's say there is some website called google.com. Okay, so now what is the stateful feature for a firewall look like? So stateful feature in the sense the firewall keep a record of all the transactions. So firewall will have something called as connection table with it. Okay, only firewalls got this concept, connection table, not router and switches, nor the access list or standard access or extended. Only the firewall, which is called connection table. And what does it maintain? It will maintain the source IP, source port, destination IP, destination port. Okay, so let's say one connection just originated in this path. Let's say there is all permit statement, ACL permitted. What firewall will do? Firewall will create a temporary connection table for that, saying that this source, this IP, this destination port, this destination IP has been generated, is hitting the ACL number, let's say 101. Okay, and now if a written traffic goes back, and how that traffic would look like, now let's say that becomes the source, then destination is the other side. So it will see that the connection table will see that I am aware of this traffic which just originated couple of time ago. I already have the record of it, so let me allow the traffic. Okay, so it will allow the traffic for that. So it will also keep the record of all your transaction. It will just see that your traffic originated from this to this, and now if the return is coming from this to this, so let me allow this. Okay, that is called stateful feature. No other devices networking component has this feature. They are all one time. If you think about router, let's say you have some ACLs, like extended ACLs put up, there is some traffic going across, there is no concept of connection table. You should put another ACL if you want to allow the rule for the return traffic. Okay, so these makes firewall different than the routers and switches, the concept of stateful. So always remember, stateful in the sense it raises some connection table which will maintain the information about the users, like where it originated, where is it going. If the return traffic comes, then it will just allow it. It will see the connection table first. Okay, it's like uh, let's say I'll give you one layman example. This is your apartment, and this is your security guard. Okay, so if the owner of that apartment walks out, the security guard is gonna put a note that this person from this apartment has gone out. Okay, and when the same person walks in, he will just allow it because he has the record for it that this is the same user. Okay, so this is how the connection table is maintained. All right, so guys, if you have any question, you can put down on the chat window so that I can check that. All right, so there is one question which says that for internet access in a router environment, both rules are required. Yes, if it is router, then you have to allow bidirectional. So this is one, and this is the bidirectional for them. Okay, and same goes applicable even in firewalls. In firewall, we have a concept of a high security zone versus low security zone. Okay, so we will come into all this thing. Whenever there is someone coming from a low security zone, then there has to be a ACL rule. Otherwise, your firewall will not permit it. It will block it. Okay. Okay, so I'm just reading the questions here. So Prithvi says, what if there is ACL for inside interface? Will it block the return traffic? Because the connection table comes after it crossed the interface. So it depends, Prithvi. I mean, if the traffic is going from a higher security to lower security, the connection will be permitted. You can access it. But if it is coming from a low security to a higher security, the traffic will get blocked. You need to have the ACL rules, and for that connection, the connection will be built, and from inside to outside, you do not have to have another bidirectional rule unless or until there is no other ACLs applied. Sometimes we have we can apply the ACLs on both the path. I'll tell you how. Let's say if the traffic originated from source to destination, so might be you applied the traffic only on the outside zone, correct? But sometimes what people do is people will also apply the ACLs here, which is called as inside out. Now, in this case, you have to allow it. Okay, so ACLs can be, I'll tell you how the ACLs are normally done. So let's say if this is outside and this is inside, so I can apply one ACL group here called as inside in. Okay, now that traffic, when it leaves out or which exit out, I will call it as outside out. Okay, which is leaving the interface. Now similar way, if something is coming from this way, this direction, okay, this direction, then I can call it as outside in. And for that traffic, I can add another ACL group called as inside out. So one interface can have two access group. Now it depends. Your question will be modified. It depends whether it has these outs or only in. If it has, then you have to add the ACL. The connection table will be not helpful, because here you have allowed, you have added ACLs here, right? So you have to add the rules, bidirectional rules here, and the connection table will be maintained. Okay, so I hope I answered that question. So now going to next question. How can we compare next gen firewall to WAP? So guys, next generation concept is different when compared to web application. This is application layer, only application layer. Okay, whereas this is all your layer 2 to layer 7. So this is a different concept, and WAF is a different concept. You see this in the big IP modules, correct? So that is what you referred, FISM, ASM, correct? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so Waris Khan say that, does the high level and the low security zone apply to next gen firewall? Yes, that's same. Okay, we don't have concept of levels here, because the concept of level is used in ASA. Here we call it as zones. So by default, all intra zones are allowed. Okay, whereas inter zone will be not allowed. So you have to allow a permit or deny statement. Okay, so as per technology, the concept will be little different. So that level, what you said, is a ASA concept, whereas in the Palo and FortiGate, etc., we use the concept of intrazone and interzone. Intrazone in the sense, if salesperson, sales zone, want to talk to another sale zone user, it will be by default allowed. You don't have to allow it. But if then sales zone guy wants to talk to a marketing zone guy, now these are different zones. So you have to allow this. Yeah, so that is what, Ajay, intrazone in the sense, same zone, two users from the same zone, sale person to another sale team person, whereas inter is a like sale team person to a marketing team person, or so and so. Okay, regarding the transparent mode, I'll come into that, so give me some time. Yes, same zone is allowed. Okay, same zone is allowed. Again, there is a concept difference. That is why when you ask the question, my answer would be focusing on, let's say, one, but don't think in another way. Now see, for example, when you say on the two what about same zone, different VLAN, so that's see, now that depends. Okay, see, I'll tell you what happens here. So in the ASA world, in the concept of ASA, if you have VLAN 100, VLAN 10, and you have VLAN 20. Now these are two different networks, but you have put the security level 50 on both. Now tell me, what will firewall do? If it is a brand new firewall, I have VLAN 10 and VLAN 20, but level as matching. Will the ASA allow the communication? It will not allow. ASA will not allow. That is why I say technology to technology, there is a difference. Though firewall will do basically altogether the same thing. ASA does the same thing what Palo could do, but some bits are different. See, in ASA, if I set level 50 to level 50, it will not allow. There is a command called allow same security zone. Then only it will allow it. Otherwise, it will not allow. Okay. But whereas in the Palo Alto, if you have, let's say, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20, but they are in the same zone, this will allow, because this will fall under interzone. Palo will check the concept of zone, whereas ASA will check the concept of levels. Okay, so that is why the course is kept in such a way that we will discuss multiple firewalls one after one, not all together, because it will raise a lot of concerns then. First, we will cover Palo, then we will move to another technology. All right, so let's see there is any question. Okay, so Imtiaz says that can you please explain the network flow with multiple core and multiple firewall? Okay, I'll do that. Okay, not for today, at least demo class. Okay, we'll do it in the class. If we need to add the rule for the return traffic, there is no much difference between the router ACL and firewall ACL. Prithvi, you have to know that firewall, until or unless if they don't have that inside in, inside out, outside in, outside in, then you do not have to add the bidirectional. The connection table will maintain it. That is what I said earlier. Okay. All right. So let's continue, guys. Let's continue. We are lagging. Now, next question, again to everyone. This is basic, but a lot of people still has this doubt. Will IPsec replace a firewall? What do you think? Why do you say why do you say it will not? So Surinder says yes and all others says no. Okay. Yes. So you guys are right. It will not replace it. In fact, these both are different things. Most of the people, you know, they ask, if IPsec is there, then why do you need firewall? Okay. But they are losing out the concept here. IPsec is, you know, only for encapsulation of the data traffic. It will not protect your computers or internal users or servers. For that, you still need a firewall, because firewall is the network component which will avoid or protect it from all the malicious activities and all these things. Okay, so where is IPsec getting into considered? Let's say this is a branch and this is a headquarter. The users from this place wants to access the servers which is kept in the headquarter. Now, this employer don't want to get into the expensive mode, MPLS, SD-WAN, or all those things. Okay, so what he does it, he will make use of the shared medium. Okay, he will make use of the shared medium and he will build the VPN connectivity between these two. Okay, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Give me 1 second. Okay, so he will use the shared medium, and he will try to build a VPN connection which will terminate between the two nodes. Let's say the VPN is built here. Okay, these are all the firewalls where the VPN is built. So you're just protecting those packets, those data traffic between the branch and headquarters. But what about the others? What about other people? Those who are coming via the shared internet, right? Now you still need the firewall for that purpose. So the work of firewall is to block all the malicious activities. Okay, all the malicious activity, ransomware attacks, DOS attack, DDoS attack, IP spoofing, all these attacks will be protected by firewall, which IPsec will not do. The functionality of IPsec is different when compared to firewall. Okay. So any question, or are you guys good with it? Are we good with it? IPsec versus firewall. Okay, now coming to the question. Again, most confusing question. Transparent mode in firewall. What do you understand? What do you understand by transparent mode? Okay, so those guys who are new here, I'll give you some hint. Okay, so as I told you, the firewalls have multiple modes that can be configured. So this is my Palo Alto dashboard. When I go to network, when I click on one of the physical interface, okay, so when you type this, so the tap interface, so here the virtual wire is called as transparent wire, transparent mode. Okay, in Palo we call it as virtual wire or bump in the wire, whereas in the Cisco ASA terminology we call as transparent mode. Okay, so why do you think we need this mode to be set? What it does and what it does not do? Okay, so as I told you, the interface can be made into any mode, right? So let's say I am making it as transparent. Okay, so why I do this is, let's say I have a existing network with me and I want to plug my firewall straight away to that. Okay, for example, in this network, okay, I have this existing network. I keep my firewall here. And now what will happen? All of a sudden, everything will get dropped. Why? Because in the first scenario itself, I said that by default, everything is gonna get dropped because firewall will use the concept of implicit deny. Okay, so everything is gonna get dropped. But do you want that to happen? Because that will create a outage in your network as soon as you put a firewall there, right? So what I can do now is, instead of dropping the packet and instead of keeping my firewall aside, not connected to the network, because I have paid the money for this, I can still connect my firewall by keeping it in a layer 2 or act as a layer 2 device. Okay. Now I configure the mode as transparent mode or virtual mode. As I told, ASA will have the concept of transparent mode, whereas Palo Alto will have the terminology as virtual mode. Okay, so let me put it as transparent mode. So when I put transparent mode, tell me what happens to the other concept like ACLs or the packet flow. Will the packet will be passed across, or what is gonna happen? Or only the layer 2 traffic is sent, or layer 3 is sent? What you think? Because you know that what is transparent mode, because transparent mode is like you're making the firewall act as a layer 2 device now. But if you put that layer 2 device, what about the gate? What about the routing tables, MAC address table, ACL? You still need to allow ACLs, or what happens to the flow? Or only layer 2 is allowed, or only layer 3 is allowed? What do you think? Okay. So let me tell what happens in this transparent mode. As soon as you put this in an existing network, it will start acting as a layer 2 device. Okay. It will still allow layer 3 traffic. Okay. It will still allow the layer 3 traffic. It will allow layer 2 traffic. Okay. But not everything. You need to have ACLs for that. That means your ACL needs to be there. Otherwise, that will not work. Second, your ARP packets are completely allowed to and fro. Anything coming from the edge router or anything from the inside to edge router, all the ARP in the sense address resolution protocol. Okay, because this is a layer 2 device now, it's not a gateway. It will still bypass those ARP traffic to the gateway. Okay, so ARP is allowed here, and all your traffic between high to low, okay, high to low is allowed. For other traffic, you have to allow the ACLs. Okay, so from layer 3, what is not allowed then? You cannot add any IP address to the interface. Remember that. Okay, you're not supposed to add this add over on the interface any IP address, because if you add it, then it will get into routed mode, a routed or a layer 3 mode. Okay, it will get away from the transparent mode. Transparent mode is when you are keeping it in a same subnet. This subnet and this subnet is same, because this is acting as only a layer 2 device now, but layer 2 plus some additional features of firewalls. That is why you plugged it. Otherwise, why you need a firewall there if you just want to keep it there, right? So it will allow ARP traffic. It will allow all the layer 3 traffic from high to low, but for low to high, you have to add the extended ACLs. Okay, so that was about layer 3 traffic. What about layer 2 traffic? Because now it is a layer 2, so you should also know that it will still work for all broadcast, all your broadcast uh, uh, okay, for all broadcast destined towards the broadcast MAC address is allowed in the transparent mode. What else is allowed? It will allow all your uh, Apple Talks non-routing traffic. Okay, And also it will allow your routing traffic like IPv4 and IPv6. And also it will allow the BPDU that is used for spanning tree. Okay. Now what in IPv4? So let's say that there are some multicast address. So I'll just tell you what is allowed from this list. Okay. So if you search for this, okay, for BPDU, or let's say bridge protocol, right? So let's say okay, so these are allowed by transparent mode. The CDP, VTP, UDLD, spanning tree, these will be allowed. Okay. And from IPv4 address, it would be these IPv4 multicast will be allowed by the transparent mode. And so as IPv6 multicast will also be allowed. Okay, that is this one. Most of the people answered correctly that it will do the layer 2 capability, but you should know a bit more than that, what is allowed and what is not allowed. Okay, so I hope that cleared your concept of transparent mode. Okay, multicast. You do not know multicast. So what is multicast? Do you know how OSPF or any routing protocol work? So multicast is nothing but a group of users. Okay, whereas broadcast is like one to all, those whoever is present in that network, like your switch does. Okay, yeah, fine. Okay. Okay, so Cyrus got one question. From a PA perspective, I have a untrusted zone. Okay, let me just put up here. So let's say this is a untrusted zone and this is a trusted zone. So ISP gives me an IP address of .24/29. My ISP is .25, internet provider. You'd configure a untrusted interface. Yes, that's right. So you will configure this as one of the zone. And this zone is the untrusted zone here. Okay. So you can call it as a outside zone or whatever. Okay. If it was a ASA concept, you would have given the security level there. You would have put the security level as 0. Okay. So I believe, Cyrus, I answered your question. So let me move further. So let's say what else I have. So after transparent mode, types of firewall. Now, how many of you know what types of firewall we got? What are different types of firewalls we have? Yes, come on, go ahead. I'm not asking from the hardware and software perspective. I'm asking it from the functionality perspective. Okay, so you might be knowing already, but let me give some clue here. Let's say something here, something here, something over here, something over here. Let's say this is my traditional firewalls, and this is my next generation firewalls. Yes, that's right. So yes, so let's keep the first one first. Packet firewall. Okay, then you have the circuit level firewalls. Correct, you got circuit level firewall. What else you have? You have those, these stateful that we discussed, stateful firewalls, and we have the UTM, which I can say those IPS and IDS. Okay, and the next generation firewalls, etc. Correct? Yes, that's right. So most of you guys have answered it. So what is the limitation? Tell me the limitation. What is the limitation of packet filtering? Or tell me how packet filtering is gonna inspect your packet, or on what basis? No, not about performance and oldest. Tell me from the functionality purpose. From functionality purpose, what do packet filtering firewall do, and what it is not capable of? Okay, so let me start. Yes, so let me put it this way. Packet firewalls are the simplest firewall which will check source IP, source port, destination IP, and destination port, and they will allow or deny. That's all. One example I can say is all this, your 𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒆𝒓𝒚, and all these things. Okay, they will not do anything about this. No URL filtering, no application layer inspection, no data inspection, no content ID, no app ID. No, there's nothing here. They just check these 4 tuples and allow it. Okay, so you know now what is the limitation here. This is definitely not gonna work on a large enterprise, right? Okay, now what is circuit level? Now circuit level works in conjunction with the firewall. Okay, that I can say it this way. The packet level firewall plus the circuit level together gives you an application layer of security. Okay, I can say that they act as a application level gateways. Now what it does additionally it will do a TCP three-way handshake. Okay, it will do a three-way handshake. But what is the delimitation of this? It will do the three-way handshake. It will confirm that the source is a genuine person, open the connection, and then go idle out. Then it is not bothered about what data is getting transmitted or what spoofing is gonna be happening. It will not do anything. It will just create the transaction and leave it out. Okay, so again, that's the drawback. On other side, these are all like used along with another firewall. You just cannot keep circuit level and say that you're 100% secure. You have some firewall, but in a second level of security, if you want, you can add all these things. Okay, security level gateway, which you can also call like proxy firewalls and all these concepts. So they all come under this. Okay, stateful inspection firewall, we already discussed this. Most of your firewalls which maintain the connection tables. Okay, so they keep the track of the user activities and maintain a record. So you don't have to always create bidirectional traffic, because the traffic which is going out, if the return traffic is coming to that, so basically it will close the connection. Okay, so connection tables are temporarily. That doesn't mean that once you add the ACL, they are gonna be permanent. Once the return traffic comes back, the connection will close for that. Once you reinitiate, the connection table will regenerate it and it will stop then. Okay, all right. UTM, I can say UTMs are also all these antivirus or features that provide IPS intrusion prevention or intrusion detection. Okay, IDS, IPS. So this technology is widely used along with stateful firewalls. Okay, so in conjunction with another firewalls, stateful firewall, I can add the module UTM. This used to be the concept previously 5 years back, but nowadays all this next gen come inbuilt with all UTM features. Okay, you just have to buy license and top it up. So once you put the license, then it will provide the features of UTM as well. But previously, there used to be blades. You know the blade concept, right? If you have a ASA firewall, let's say you have a chassis and you have ASA firewall, you can go and deploy a chassis or a unit for UTM as well. Or if the firewall already has a concept of UTM, you have to buy the license there. Okay, so they work on antivirus intrusion detection prevention mechanism, and especially the SOC team. Okay, SOC team, not the network team, SOC team. They look into this. They monitor all the malicious activities, ransomware, DOS, etc., generate reports and send you guys, network firewall engineers or administrator, to say that this block this, we are receiving lot of traffic, all these things. You might have seen if you're working with a network firewall team and SOC team, right? So that those people make use of all those reports. Okay, so traditional firewall, you already know, it's having the concept of packet filtering, stateful, UTM. Okay, so examples like ASA and PIX, all these things. Okay, what about next generation firewall? So next generation firewall have all the blades these days. So you can do much more things here. You can do a packet filtering concept. Okay, VPN connectivity. You can have the IPS IDS concept. You have concept of wildfire in Palo Alto or digital signatures. Okay, it has concept of deep packet inspection. So not just the 4 tuples, instead it can check the content. You can add the profile. Okay, so in this profile you add your antivirus or anti-spyware. Okay, the when you prepare your policy, let me show you that. So let's say when you go to the Palo Alto dashboard, when you go to policy, just click on the add button. So source, most of the firewall allows you. Destination, port and IP is also allowed by most of the people. But what additionally Palo does, it has you the option of adding application. Okay, it is giving you some pre-default templates. Okay, what to be allowed. Let's say you want Facebook, but you do not need other features of it. So all those things you can add. Plus you can add the services. Okay, these you can add, and you can also add the profiles. Okay, so I can go and create profiles. Now what are the options within profile? So if you go to device, over here, okay, so you have all the options of adding antivirus and all these spywares, etc., etc. Okay, see, you can add this profiles for authentications and all those things on the policy itself. That is what next generation firewalls are called as. Okay, and what else you can add? You can add these. You can add a antivirus profile. You can add anti-spyware. So by default, there are some ready-made templates for each of these categories. Okay, so if you click here, default profile, so you can see the default antivirus profile here. Okay, so if you open the anti-spyware, so you can go and select the profile. So it will say that it has all the category. Okay, what to be allowed and what comes under that. Okay, URL filtering. Okay, what are allow categories, alert categories, etc., etc. So all this you can add on the policy itself. If anything apart from that comes, try to come, it will drop it. Okay. And I was telling about intrazone and interzone. So you see that all intra zones are by default allowed. So sales to sale, uh, marketing to marketing, okay, or design team to design team, they're by default allowed. But what is not allowed is your intrazone, sales to marketing, marketing to design team, they're by default. So whenever I add any policy, it will go and sit here. So this is what I was telling, that what next generation firewall does. Yes, Cyrus. So what I will do is I will show you the CLI first, and then I'll show the graphical as well. Okay. So we will do all the CLI based troubleshooting on all the modules. That is how we take the batch. We just do not show on the graphical, we will show on the CLI as well. So I had prepared all complete list of all frequently used CLI commands on the Palo and all these things. Okay. So this is the CLI, though you might use or may not use, but from our side, we will cover up, the CLI part, so that you can run the packet captures or some IPs you want to take, or some sort of troubleshooting you want to do, you can still do it from the CLI basis. Okay. So you will receive Excel sheet for each module when we go from module by module. So when you start with Palo, I'll give you the Palo Excel sheet, which will have all the CLI documentation. All right. So let's see what we have. All right. Again, let's continue. Okay. So let's say, what is the next question? We know what is UTM. So I will say that we have discussed already. Now, what do you mean by common network ports? I hope you know what is network port, right? So let's say when on your computer, if you're having 10 applications, application 1, application 2, application 3, let's say this is WhatsApp, this is what else? Let's say Facebook, and let's say this is your email application. Correct. This is your OSI layer concept, by the way. It is nothing to do with the security side. If you know how the TCP layer, how the transport layer works, then you might know how or what is port number. So let's say when there is any data traffic between two different users or whatever, so you know that whatever happens in the OSI layer. So how does that application come to know that that email has to be received to that application? That is because they generate some random port number. So let's say if there is something originating from this, so it will generate some random port number, something like this. This will generate its own source random port numbers. This will generate something of its own. Okay. So now this get associated with your IP, your destination. This is traveling now. Okay. So it knows that which application generated which what traffic, what it has to send. So when the traffic comes back, it will come accordingly. It will come to this port because that application originated that. Might be the traffic is coming to the email. How does email client know that the traffic is for me? Correct. So that's all because of the port number that application use it. How many port numbers do we have? Again, as I told you, CCNA concept, go to this Wikipedia, it will give you all TCP to UDP port numbers. Okay. So starting with 1, 0 is reserved. 0 is reserved. Starting with 1, it goes till 65535. 65535. So let's go here. Okay, somewhere. Okay, let me go further down. Yeah, so you can see that we have till this. Okay, so these are all INA concept, IP4, port number, all CCNA basics. Okay, but why I'm showing this is because when you attend any network security interview, they will straight away ask you what is the port number of SMTP, what is port number of STTP, STTPS, okay, or FTP, SSH. What else? What are the common frequently used ones? Tell me. How many of you guys have attended the network security interviews recently? So what port number did they ask? Yes, DHCP, SFTP, DNS, right? So this is the most asked question. So this is why when I will start with this, I'll take all this concept in my mind to prepare you that at the end of the course, you are familiar with at least common ports. Okay, very common port. And not for that reason itself, because when you try to unblock the ports, as I gave you one scenario of a ticket, that a user is saying that please allow the traffic between this to this for SMTP communication. Okay, because he may not be knowing what's the port number for SMTP, but he know what is the purpose. Now you as a network security administrator or engineer, it will not look good. You ask someone what is port number to be allowed here, or you Google it for this. You should know basic one. These are some basic ports here. Okay, so if it is SMTP, it is very clear that the person is asking you to allow the port 25 here. Okay, so here the port is 25. Here it is what 80,443. Oh, this is 21, 22. This is 22. What is DHCP and DNS, guys? DHCP 68 and 69. Okay, 53. Okay, so always see some most commonly used port number. How many of guys used are in the role, in the job role where you allow or unblock the port? Have you heard about this concept? Allow the communication or unblock the port. Have you any one of you used this? Okay, so you might be knowing how this works, right? Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's see what do we have. All right. So I think I have covered all of them. My last question was about DMZ, and I have covered DMZ already. Okay. So we are good for day one. Now let's come about on the curriculum and all this stuff. Okay, all right. So I put as 68 and 69. So let's say 67 and 68. Okay. All right. Now let's come to the curriculum. What is covered? How many months? Lab access, all these questions. So guys, we have the curriculum put up here. So I'll give you this link. You guys can see yourself what are the content here. Okay. So this is the content for Palo Alto. Then we have Cisco ASA FTD, Checkpoint, FortiGate, F5 load balancer. Okay. So these are 5 modules that we will cover in this. I have also put all the lab topology that you will get. So this is our massive lab topology. I will show you on my lab itself. So let's go here. Yeah. So if I just zoom in, so you can see that it consists of all the vendors that we will be covering up in this 4 to 5 months. Okay. See, you have Checkpoint, FortiGate, Palo, FortiGate, and ASA FTD. And what else on the other side? So you have ASA FTD, and let's see what is this. So this block is for your LTM concept. Okay, we will create the web URL. We will have all these servers in the backend. Okay, so here we will see scenarios like VPN between multi-vendors. You can also configure MPLS on this cloud. If you want, you can do the layer 3 and layer 2 concept here. Otherwise, we will provide you the configuration for that. ACLs between the 2 or more vendors. Correct. So this is where you will get expertise knowledge on each of the vendor. But this will come after you complete all the 5. Because if you are to build a ACL between Checkpoint and FortiGate, but if you have not worked on Checkpoint, so it will not gonna be beneficial, right? So you should first know all the 5 technology, then you will get access to this lab. So this is our bonus lab that we prepared for the student who is taking up all the 5. Someone who is taking with only 1 or 2, you guys have your own topology. For firewall like Palo Alto, we are using this topology. I think I have it open on my screen. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, this itself is fair enough, where you have all the concept discussed, like we will discuss the HA pairing, we will discuss the transparent mode. Okay, we will discuss about the IPsec VPN connection and SSL. See, I've also kept a Cisco ASA so that I can show you a IPsec between 2 different technologies. Okay, and all ACL unblock, all these things, packet inspection, packet flow, Wireshark capture. So all these things will be covered from technology to technology point of view. Okay, so you go through that link and you will see the lab diagram. So this is for this is for FTD and FMC. Again, that consists of lot of FTD and FMC concept. This is F5 module. We cover LTM here. We have ASA lab. We have the checkpoint lab here. Okay. So all your course completion and all those things. And yes, we will start first with firewall module. We will start with Palo Alto as the first module. So today we just covered the firewall as a introductory topic. Tomorrow I'll take the Palo Alto and I'll cover the Palo Alto's introductory concept. Okay, so tomorrow I'm gonna cover all the topics related to Palo Alto, like what are the different hardwares, what are the different software, what are different license, what are the different uh, packet flow here. Okay, so all the technology, all the basic intro from the Palo side of view. Guys, as you guys are requesting for fees and all, so my backend has already dropped the message. You guys have to reach out to that WhatsApp or that email ID. Okay. So my backend team will help you with all the enrollment or any discount. Then they are the best person to offer you the discount and all those things. Okay. So yes, guys. So do you have any question? So do you have any question apart from the fees? Because that will go straight away to the backend team. You can call or you can email or you can WhatsApp and book it. Okay. So there are some discounts. So you just have to talk to the backend for that. So anything apart from that with respective to topic, curriculum, lab access. Okay, let me put down all the features. So guys, how the lab access work? We provide you people remote lab access. Okay, each module you will get 1.5 month to 2 month of unlimited access. That is 24/7, including Saturday and Sunday as well. Okay, so let's say when I'm starting with Palo Alto, we will give you the access to the lab. It will run for 2 month unlimited access, not hourly based, unlimited access 24 into 7, including Saturday, Sunday. Okay, and we will also assist you on the home lab, but make sure you have 16 GB of RAM. Otherwise, don't come for home lab. It will not work. It needs 16 or above. Don't come if you have 4 GB and 8 GB. You guys can use the remote access, because the load is on our side, not on your side. You will just be given some URL and you can log in with that. Okay. And other benefit is recording access. Okay, that is nothing but the lifetime access. Unlike other institute, we don't give it for 1 year or 6 months. We give it for lifetime access. The recording of all the live classes would be put up on a web portal and is given as a lifetime access. The reading material, the PDF, the workbook are downloadables. You can download it from our Google Drive, print it, read it. If you have a dual monitor, it's easy for you to practice it. Okay, so these are something what we provide, and also we have a after class support. So if after the completion of online class, if you have any doubt, you don't have to wait for another weekend or another class to clear it. So you can, let's say you're practicing something and you face some issue, you can reach out us on our backend DL, or some email ID will be given to you. You can reach out to us. Okay, and we will take you on WebEx or something and we will fix the issue. And what else? And yes, as you know, automation is one of the booming industry, especially Python, Ansible, and REST API. I hope you guys might have come across this terminology, right? So I'm gonna cover the automation side as well. So I will, let's say when I start with Palo Alto, I will show you the automation via Python over Ansible and API. Okay. So along with the technology, you will learn to automate them. Regarding the timings, guys, it's a weekend batch, Saturday, Sunday, 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. India. Okay. So rest, you can convert it. So this is the weekend batches. Okay. All right. So I guess I answered most of your question, and I hope you know what is the flow here, what's the structure here. So you can feel free to contact us, and we will guide you with that. Okay. So certificate and all, it's very simple thing, right? I already showed you the certificate and all over here. So you will see this sort of certificate and all from the institute side. And for official certificate, you know that there is a Pearson who are the partner for these technology. So you have to book your exam and write the paper there. Okay. So in the next class, I will talk about all the Palo Alto certificate and how do you officially write an exam and all those things and all. Okay. I'll discuss about the official fees and all for the certification tomorrow. Okay. All the different types of certification that Palo offers. Okay. And which is the right certification for you. I'll discuss it in the next class. Recordings will be given, guys. Recording will be given after some time. So after, let's say, 2 to 3 hours, we will reach out to you with the recording link, and all other things you can talk to our backend. Okay. So that's all from my side. I'll wind up for now. I hope the session was interactive, and those who joined with no basic knowledge, you gained something from the session today. Okay. So we will discuss tomorrow for Palo Alto and all its features and all its certification concept. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice day. Take care.